Super cool radio.
Hello everyone, I am Matthew Thomas with Super Cool Radio. My guest this time from Essex, Maryland is the creator of heavy metal band Offensive. Please welcome Leon Sohail.
What's up, everyone? Thank you, Matthew, for having me. Very happy to be here talking all things metal, all things offensive with you.
That's right. Hopefully, yeah, definitely gonna get offensive up in here. Yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Actually, through James, there we go, Blindside Entertainment. I started listening to you guys' music very recently. I really dig what you guys bring to the table.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we're also very excited for all the new things that are happening with our band and the music. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. And before I know I got a lot to chat with you about. I know you have a lot of cool things in the works. But I want to start with a fun question first. Maybe get your mind thinking. If you could collaborate with any living artist on a future song, who would it be?
That's a good question. I'm a huge, as you can see in the background, Metallica fan. So, yeah, James and Lars of Metallica would be a biggest dream probably for me.
Yeah, dude, that'd be really awesome. I know you put out your cover album, Metallica songs, very recently too.
Yes, yeah, we recorded a few songs that we usually play live. We're an original band, but we're not basically a stranger to playing a bunch of covers in our set. And so we recorded some of our favorite songs that we've been playing out since the beginning of the band, and we released 3 of those: The Four Horsemen, Jump in the Fire, and For Whom the Bell Tolls, alongside an original song that I wrote in memory of Cliff Burton, and we called it a tribute to Metallica.
It's really awesome. You guys do it very justice about the covers and stuff. Obviously, I know you have a lot of respect for Metallica and stuff, and it definitely comes through.
Absolutely, and other bands as well. We're right now continuing with recording a whole full LP of covers from other bands as well. It will be released hopefully next year under the title Bandland. Days Revisited. Bandland is the name of our rehearsal space. So the songs that we're rehearsing there, we're planning on releasing a 10-song EP next year, LP next year.
Very nice. Definitely something very cool to look forward to. And naming it after your space too. That's kind of fun. Nice nod to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I was going to say this for later in the interview, but since you talk about Metallica and stuff, I know very recently Offensive released a killer cover of Seek and Destroy along with the music video. How was it recording the cover and the music video?
So that's actually one of the songs that we have not released. We just released the music video. It was part of the whole bigger picture of the cover tribute album we're recording, and we had Baltimore Soundstage during the pandemic, one of our favorite rooms. We played many shows in that great venue, and we were recording a music video for our song King of the Underworld. And I just thought that it would be a great idea, since we had extra time, to perform Seek and Destroy, and then later on just patch it all together and make 2 music video out of it. And that's what we did with the Seek and Destroy music video.
It was definitely very cool. A lot of I think it was, obviously very fun to watch, and obviously it's Metallica, so I mean, who doesn't like Metallica? So
Yep.
Good to watch.
Exactly.
But another thing I was going to cover later, but since you talked about King of the Underworld, you released that in December of 2020. I saw the release date was Christmas. I saw.
Yeah, that was a Christmas bonus. That the song originally was released as the first track of the album Inhabitants of Purgatory in 2019 with Offensive's first singer voice. And then since he's no longer with us and I'm singing basically that song live, I decided to jump in the studio and basically kill myself trying to hit all those high notes, and we released that as a single, as a Christmas bonus, Christmas gift for our fans.
It definitely, you can definitely tell a lot of effort with like the notes and stuff. So how do you? Well, have you performed it live yet?
We've been performing it live since probably our first gig. But me singing it, I think it started in 2018, late 2018. I started singing that live. It's been a challenge since I wrote that music to the voice and range of our first singer, who had a very high pitched, high range voice, and I have I'm a baritone basically, which is very low on the vocal range. So trying to meet with that expectation and trying to like sing so that I do justice to the song while playing guitar is a bit of a challenge. So but it's getting better every performance. It's getting better, and I feel more comfortable after each time we play that song live.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just doing it more often. Obviously, you just got to get comfortable with it. You know, obviously hitting those high notes, playing guitar, or performing. It's all kind of wrapped up into a lot of work. Yeah,
absolutely. It's a lot of work, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, I saw your Meet the Band interview on your YouTube page, and it's fun. It was very fun just seeing you guys all interact together as a band. Obviously, you guys get along very great, and you got a lot of Pennsylvania influence in your band.
Yeah. It's one of the neighbor states, and then that's just basically a coincidence because we do have a very, very close relationship with many people even though we're from Maryland, we are very well developed in Delaware, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, Virginia, a lot of East Coast and Northeast, and also Midwest as well. We played many shows in Ohio, West Virginia, and so we're trying to basically expand and get to new territories, but PA has always been very nice to us. Like every show that we played in PA has been a blast.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. They have a very cool music scene as well. They're definitely very flourishing. Like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh definitely got a lot of great up and coming bands as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of great bands come to Maryland to play from PA, and we're always very amazed at how many talents are out there in that state.
And Pittsburgh has a Hard Rock Cafe. I was actually there. It's a pretty cool place.
Awesome. Yeah, I've never been to Hard Rock Cafe in Pittsburgh, but I love the city of Pittsburgh for sure.
Yeah, I went there in 2019. It's a cool place. I like just all the history. Andy Warhol's obviously from there, and they got a whole bridge. Roberto Clemente. It's a lot of history there as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
But obviously, so a big reason I wanted to talk with you is you'll be actually be hitting the road with a lot of different, coming to a lot of different states, coming up. Metal to the Masses 2 tour.
Oh, yep. June
10th, I believe.
Yeah, it is happening. June 10th, Thursday. Our first show would be in Cumberland, in our home state, Maryland, at a place called All the New Thirsties. And then we're hitting 8 states and finishing in Virginia, in Chesapeake, Virginia, close to the beach, on Monday, June the 27th. Hitting 8 states, performing from June 10th to June 27th.
So how does it feel to tour again?
It feels great. We have been playing a lot of weekenders and like short runs that I can't really call tour. You know, we played in Ohio a lot recently, just going, playing, come back. But there's a different feeling when it's a tour, when you know that you're leaving and like you're not gonna be seeing home for 2-3 weeks. It's a different feeling. It's a different kind of excitement mixed with many other feelings, but mostly excitement.
Yeah, I bet, especially for, you know, actually the actual full-fledged tour, as you said, 8 states, going on tour for 17 days. You know, obviously not home, but definitely experiencing all the great states. I do know you'll be hitting my home state of Indiana coming up June 16th at the Ruin. That's
Yes.
an awesome show, and I saw Blind Anxiety posted about that. So that's really awesome. June 16th, anyone's interested, you can see Offensive live.
Yeah, it will be great. It will be our first time in the state of Indiana. It actually, I traveled personally to many states in the United States since I came here, but not Indiana. I haven't seen Indiana, so I'm very excited. We will be there. Actually, we don't have shows on Monday and Tuesday of that week, I think 14 and 15, but we will be in Fort Wayne for those days. Try to get to know your hometown and get to know Fort Wayne and the state of Indiana, and hopefully we could hang out, all of us, and then go to the Ruin and have great time on the show on the 16th.
Yeah, definitely gonna be awesome. For anyone who hasn't seen you guys live, what can they expect from Offensive?
So we are a traditional, musically, we're a traditional heavy thrash band, which means that there's gonna be her floating around, headbanging, basically mostly pure thrash and heavy, fast music. We don't tend to talk much. We usually play songs because most of our fan base usually come to shows for that thirst, for that itch, for the old school thrash and the, you know, long guitar solos and good old just headbanging and if venues allow us, surfing, all that crazy stuff. Um, Also, a lot of basically our performance is based on technicality. So we'd like to show off our individual skills. So there's gonna be like drum solos, guitar solos, bass solos, and why not some jokes, some offensive jokes. We like to definitely be closer to our fans and people who come out to see the shows, and we'll try to get connected. But it's old school. Everything about us is very old school. Just so you know, you be warned. I personally am trapped in the music of 60s, 70s, and 80s. So even though I try to keep an open mind about all things new and all the TikTok and all the new culture and everything, which I love, I'm still a very old school person. So yeah, a lot of, I think, unexpected, because that was the vibe of our generation in the 80s when I was growing up. We didn't want to write too much script. We wanted to do it on the go. So a lot of things that we learned to do on stage were kinesthetic. Basically, we learned it on the go, and you know, we used the energy of the room to project it back with actions, words, everything. But what you can always expect from us is that we're always positive, we're always smiling, even if we're absolutely butchering your favorite song. Just think of that as something offensive that we do. We won't feel down about it, even if we mess up, if we fuck up a note, or if I sing out a key. It's all because we want to have fun. So we will always be smiling. A lot of times I try to make mean faces so it goes better with the music and the songs that we play. It never works out. I end up smiling. So if that's offensive to really brutal metalheads, well, we have to live up to the name of the band.
Yeah, that's right. But definitely, I mean, if the music's so good, if you're feeling the energy in the crowd, I mean, it's hard not to smile and have a good time. You know, I can't believe smiling is considered offensive in metal music, though.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
No, definitely, it's going to be an awesome show. I mean, obviously, check them out on the whole run of tours you guys have been announcing. You mentioned some killer places, killer shows, and killer lineups as well. Plus, I've heard you got some stuff working for your home state of Maryland coming up later in the year as well.
Yeah, so after the tour, when we come back, we have a few shows here and there, trying to cover more territories. I think we have 2 shows in North Carolina, 1 in Virginia, and then also we're playing HMAC in Harrisburg with our friends in Wall Street in July. And then we have many great shows with some of our favorite bands in August and September, one of which would be we're going to basically play a short run with Inhuman Condition, which consists of the members of Massacre, the original bassist of the band Death, the ex-members of Venom Inc. It's a super power death metal band, which we're very excited. We're going to be hitting the road with them, I think, in September.
Yeah, that's a powerful super group of metal.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, no other way to really say it, but yeah, that's really awesome. You guys got some cool stuff in the works as well for all that, and yeah, definitely look forward to seeing. Obviously I'm not from that area, but definitely those shows sound awesome.
Yes. Yep. Definitely. Very exciting.
So, what's kind of the music scene like in Maryland?
It's very strange. We have a very broad taste in a state of Maryland. And I think mostly my feeling about the music scene in Maryland is positive. We have problems in this scene, but most of those problems are good problems to have. One of the biggest problems we have is competition. There are many live music venues in the city, Baltimore, Maryland, Eastern Shore. Everywhere that you look, there are shows happening at the same time. So you could come to Baltimore with your band to play a show in Baltimore City, and there could be 10 other live music in 10 miles radius playing the same style of music you're playing. So you might not get a good crowd because the crowd would be split between all the places. So it's a very competitive state, Maryland. That's why sometimes a lot of big bands either start with when they tour East Coast. I've seen that as a promoter a lot. A lot of bigger bands and promoters and agents either skip Maryland altogether, or they pick their East Coast or Midwest based on their dates in Maryland. Many of the agents and promoters and talent buyers in Maryland have a clause in their agreement. They don't want the bands coming to this state to play shows within 100 miles radius 60 days before or after the shows. Is very common here. That's not a very common issue for many other places like Ohio or Pennsylvania, places like that. But Maryland, it's very competitive. We have a huge hip hop and rap type of following because of the demographics in Maryland. Also underground metal. So every genre has its own following, and it's a big scene. You see a lot of musicians in the state of Maryland. That makes it very hard to compete. But at the same time, some of my best friends I have here, I made through going to shows in the state of Maryland.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I've heard of like I've heard about the Maryland music scene. I heard it's it is a little bit cramped at times, but it's a good problem to have. I know some states where there's like barely any live music venues because of of the pandemic last year. So I mean, at least you have nice problems of there's so many shows I don't know where to go. So I've never heard of clauses of show dates and stuff. That's the first time actually hearing about that because I know we don't really have that issue in my state, but that's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of and it's understood. It's not a strange thing. It's just I've seen it more than I should have, being from Maryland.
Yeah, at least you have knowledge of it since you obviously live in the state. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool that all a buddy music scene of great talent. I mean, it's always good. Competition just makes you. I mean, you have to work harder, but you can get it done.
Absolutely.
So anyone now from Maryland, who's some bands to check out from Maryland?
So that's a good question, and I'll tell you before I answer your question. Why is it a very hard and difficult question to ask me? It's because I started to work on the side as a promoter here in the state of Maryland in 2017, and for about more than a year, I was basically the main booking agent at a very cool spot in Maryland called Sparta Inn. And so I used to have shows Thursday to Sunday every week, and a lot of times in the midweek, like Tuesday, Wednesday, I would have like touring bands. So you could imagine I probably booked over thousands of bands at least, most of which were from Maryland. And also my band has played more than about like maybe 200 shows, and I made it my mission from the day one, and also I always expected all my bandmates to show up at the load-in and leave after the show is done to support and network with every single musician and band on the bill. So that makes my head get exploded with names. But some of the names that come in mind, and mostly because I'm a very geographical person, so I think of what the bands that I've recently played with, or I'm excited to play with again soon. Some of these bands I have to mention would be a band called Reign of Tragedy. That was the first band that played shows with us for a very long time. They were on Offensive's bills, and they were bringing most of the crowd to the venues when we were trying to build our fan base. My buddy Rob Thompson, he has another band called Reaver, but his main band, Reign of Tragedy, and his other side project, Stripped. These are they were very, very big and great in our scene. Another great band is Screaming in Silence. Some of my good friends are in that band, a very great band from Baltimore. Another great band is called Season of Fear. They're an old school thrash metal band. Some of other great bands, ZFL. They're also very known and very well respected in our state. A band called Scarlet Angel. A band called Race the Rat. These are some of the bands we played many shows with, and we always enjoyed ourselves. These are some of the Maryland bands that we have been playing a lot, and that comes to mind. Of course, there's many more.
It definitely lists some great bands. I'm familiar with Screaming in Silence. They're really good. I really enjoy them. So definitely very cool. Very as you said, it's very competitive area over there. But definitely, I mean, that competition makes the best.
Absolutely.
So I didn't know you were a promoter too. I did not know that. But definitely, hey, it comes in handy when I ask questions like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm going to ask you to list a few more bands, but it's the music that you've been listening to this week.
Music that I've been listening to this week. So, one of the local bands here actually released their album last week. The band is called Scissor Fist, and my buddy Matt is the singer, and I've been listening to that a few times. It's very great work, just released, and I've been listening to some Cradle of Filth, a lot of Blaze Bailey, who used to be in Iron Maiden and now is doing his solo stuff. I listened to Halloween's new single that came out last week. And I've been listening to a lot of Offensive's new material on repeat because we're in process of finalizing Offensive's second album. So me and my producer are just ping ponging, going back and forth with the songs. So yeah, I've been listening to our own stuff a lot. Yeah, but other than my own music, I think Cradle of Filth, a lot of Caesar Fist and Halloween, Stratovarius, a lot of power metal stuff has been the music I've been listening to.
That's a solid lineup, and I'm going to list mine before I want to talk about your new music. But I've been repping Wild Street this interview. I've been listening.
Awesome.
Their new stuff. I think they've just been building on their stuff. Like, I mean, I've really enjoyed their music, but I think their new album, Wild Street 3, coming out soon. It's like they're just getting better and better.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, I think the shirt you're wearing is like promoting single mother, right?
Yes, that good call.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great overall direction they're going to. Like we played a show with Wall Street, I think last month, and I love those guys. I like Eric and everybody else in that band. They put on a great show, and they're heading towards the best. Like they're definitely gonna hear way more from and about Wild Street in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. I saw them last month. I think it was right before, or right after. I think it was right after. I saw them in Fort Wayne at the Ruin, or no, sorry, Indy at the Irvine Theater. There we go. I got my shows mixed up, but
Nice.
yeah, they're awesome to chat with, and their stuff just sounds, like their studio quality is their live show. It's very impressive.
Yes, I agree.
And so that's what I've been listening to, and I just started listening to Megadeth again. I just started getting back into them. So yeah, that's what I've been listening to while streaming Megadeth. Pretty solid, I think.
Awesome.
But I know you talked about the new music for Offensive. Can you give any hints about what you've been working on?
So yes, a few. It's actually very huge. A few years ago, I started putting together some new music, new material, and I thought maybe it's a great idea to collaborate with some of my personal favorite musicians that I could basically contact and try to see what the music that I wrote for this album. I looked at it this way. I was listening to music for some of my personal favorite musicians, and I was getting inspirations and used that inspiration in the mood of the lyrics. And then I tried to think who would be best to perform this song, to shape this album the way that 20 years from now, 30 years from now, I would listen to it and I'll be like, hell yeah, I did that. And so it's a collaborative album, 10 tracks that we recorded for this album. And some of the guest musicians that I had the honor and pleasure of working with are Mr. Michael Gilbert of Flotsam and Jetsam, Mr. David Ellefson of Megadeth, Mr. Roy Z of Bruce Dickinson, and many other projects. He wrote and produced for Bruce Dickinson for many years. And Blaze Bailey, one of my all-time favorite singers. George Call from Cloven Hoof and Aska. I also had the pleasure of working with one of my favorite singers, Nick Courtney of Vicious Rumors, and many more. Mr. Matthias Kupiainen from Stratovarius, who basically has done, I think, 5 out of 10 songs with me on the guitars, and also will be mastering the album after our production is done. All the drums were done by Mr. Ashley Maccabee, who is our producer and also one of the best drummers that I've ever worked with. And different guest musicians on bass, like I said, Mr. David Ellefson, Mr. Cody Green from Vicious Rumors, and also Mr. Mr. Appleton from Blaze Bailey band now, who used to be in Iced Earth and many of the Absolva and many other bands. So it's very big project. It's musically very different from the first album. It's more progressive, more leaning towards power metal because Matthias was very involved in this process. I can't wait to share this album with everyone. We're on the last basically days of finishing the album. It will be released hopefully sometime around October, and there will be definitely news about the details of this album soon.
That sounds all awesome. You've been working with killer guest musicians, top quality guest musicians, and now I'm excited to hear like the final product when it's released later this year. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yep.
That's all. Like, so did you have connections with them, or like how'd you collaborate with all these great musicians?
Well, like I said, I have a very old school heart, and these are even though some of them are very young musicians, these are some of the people I connected with. They might not be the most famous. Another person I forgot to mention was Mr. Tim Ripper Owens, who the ex-Judas Priest singer, who's now in KK's Priest. So these are type of musicians that I went to the concert, or I met at meet and greet, or my band had the pleasure of opening for, and just like we just connected magically after like one short conversation, or people that I remember for some reason. For example, Roy Z. I give you an example. I've always been a huge fan of his work with Bruce Dickinson, and most of my childhood, very hard childhood in different countries where I had to struggle, especially in the Middle East, I was only able to survive because of this music. And there are certain songs, there are certain music that I had access to that shaped my youth and shaped my fighting spirit, surviving in those times. And one of them was the Roy Z's music, the Bruce Dickinson solo album. So when I first came to the United States, I made that my plan. I need to meet this guy. I need to tell him what his music means to me, and I need to find a way to work with him on a song and get his feelings to the words that I want to say, I want to sing in my song. And when I shared with him the image, and of course, all of these musicians were selected because these are type of musicians that put their craft, put their arts over everything else. So every single musician that I work with has told me as a warning, if they don't like the music, they wouldn't do it. And that was what I wanted to hear from them. And yeah, it was like approaching through the right channels, being respectful, being patient. I had to wait for 2 years for one of my singers that I wanted on this album to get back to me. But I'm not a type of person who is afraid of or would get pissed at someone for rejection or being ignored. I'll just respectfully keep cranking and keep hoping. And yeah, I would say it's miraculously came together.
Yeah, especially like having that chemistry of people. You're doing this because you love the music. Obviously, money's all that stuff, but important. The bottom line is you love the music, and you're with obviously great musicians. As I said, Tim Ripper Owens is actually going on tour. I saw like he's super talented as well from what I've heard and listened to, and just working with all those people. Now, do one more question about like the guest musicians is:
Absolutely.
Did you have these people in mind when you made the song, or did you make the song go, you know what, this person would fit in perfectly with this?
Yeah, so the as I was writing the songs, because most of these songs were inspired by the music I was listening to at the time, it was like, oh my God, it could be great if this person can sing it. For example, I'll give you an example. I had a song called Anessa. That is my middle name. When I first came to the United States, I stayed with a Native American family within Cherokee family for a while, and they taught me a lot about the Native family and history. And they basically, the chief of that family named Jesus, he gave me the basically the name Anessa and told me, you don't shut up about how much you love New York and you just like so excited to be in this country. Anessa means my home, so you should just change your name to Anessa. And that's why I did when I became a citizen. I put Anessa as my middle name. I was like thinking about the whole history of the natives and their struggles, their history, and all that. And I was fascinated by some of their leaders, the courageous leaders that have Crazy Horse and Red Cloud and all that other great warriors. And I started writing about their frustration, especially with the history I learned about the U.S. President Andrew Jackson and what he did to them and all that stuff. So ended up becoming a song with an acoustic guitar called Anessa, and I released the demo of that. And then after that, I was listening to, of course, I knew of the song Klansman by Iron Maiden that was written by Steve Harris and Blaze Bayley. And I was like, you know what? This will be a great song for Blaze to sing, because it's basically a lot of vocal melodies are inspired by him, and he's very big. It seems like he's very big on Native history. And guess what? When I played that song for him in 2018, when we played a show with him, he's like, oh, I love this. I love Native history. I was like, do you want to sing it? And he was like, sure. And then I just put him on the spot. I'm like, no, don't feel bad. I just email your manager, and we talk about it. 2 years later, I got a message. I got an answer back. It's like, yeah, Blaze will do it, but here's what he wants to do. He wants to change it and make it his own. And I'm like, you know what? If it was anyone else, I would have been pissed. I would have not been happy. But Blaze Bayley wants to take my song. He's like, he likes it so much that he's like, I want to make it my own. I'm flattered. Sure, let's do it. And the outcome is so great. The outcome, it's one of the songs I've been listening on repeat.
No, that's really awesome, especially the connection to Native Americans. I saw on PBS they did a great Native American documentary about Native Americans and music, and it's very interesting how influential they are in music, and that they don't really get talked about in history.
True. Yeah, they're definitely some. It's very important, but also neglected in the United States. We should talk about Native Americans way more than we are, and definitely they are the ones have been here the longest and know the land and everything better than all of us. And definitely their culture and their way of life has the highest positive influence on the life of all of us, from different backgrounds. I come from a European Middle Eastern background, and I came here, and the best thing I love about the United States is the land. And I think the being able to work with the natives and the ones who have learned how to live with the land as their mother is going to be our basically key to survival and basically being connected as human beings as one race in this great land.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just the way the Native Americans live, like they if they killed an animal, they would use all the parts they could, that they wouldn't waste anything. And I think that's like, there's definitely a lot of stuff that people can learn from about stuff, even applying it to nowadays. And
Exactly.
that they just don't, history books, a lot of that stuff just doesn't reflect it.
I agree. Definitely, there is a need for the whole educational system to definitely work more closely with our native heritage, Native Americans.
Yes, definitely, for sure. And thank you so much for hanging out with me here on Super Cool Radio. Definitely a lot of great time chatting with you. Definitely check out Offensive Metal to the Masses 2 tour, coming to 8 states very soon, starting on June 10th. They'll be in Fort Wayne on June 16th, and some great shows as well. So please see Offensive live. Got some killer things in the works, as we've been discussing. And I do got one more thing before I let you go. I know you covered a lot about what your plans are, but anything else? Any more future plans? It's already halfway through 2021.
Well, no, just like last word is for all music fans, if they're listening to this from anywhere, is I just want to and encourage everyone to spread the message of positivity in their music scene wherever they are. Try to be positive at all times. It's not an impossible task. That's what I'm trying to do. And definitely, if you are a musician, just know that you have a responsibility as an entertainer towards your society and your community. Start small, start in your community, spread the message of positivity, go through challenges, go through everything that you have to go through as part of the society, and also as an entertainer. It's up to us to put a smile on people's face, and it's up to us to help them with our products, with our performance, with our music, to basically help challenging families, especially in our country, to get through their day. That's like, if I couldn't imagine my childhood without Metallica and Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Sabbath. They were the bands, they were the music of those bands shaped my childhood and helped me through very, very tough times. And I want to encourage everyone to do the same, be productive, and definitely spread the message of positivity and friendship, and encouraging everyone, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, or sexual orientation, all of that. We all bleed red, so we all should be brothers and sisters in the name of music.
I liked everything you said. Yes, like music is a very powerful tool, and I think definitely a lot of people like them using it to include others and to create relationships and bonds and stuff. It is a very powerful tool, and yeah, there's definitely some metal music. I think definitely starting out was kind of more doom and kind of a dark, but now I think definitely there's been a positive shift in metal music that it's trying to include everybody and just spread a positive message.
Exactly. And also, one last thing I wanted to add. So you mentioned about the dark side of some of the music, or the history of metal music. Even in my band, it's the rule. Everybody in my band, and including myself, even when we don't like something, we don't comment on it. We're all about the positivity. Even if I hear a music or something that is dividing, I'm not the one fixing it. I will try to promote positivity and what I think and my band thinks is the best, unity, all that stuff. If there is division, if there is a wrongdoing, I'll definitely try to be helpful by putting a good example out rather than attacking anyone for their wrongdoing. I've done many things wrong in my own life. I've done many unwise things, many things that and the only reason why I changed or I went through a change and disagreed with what I've did in the past was the power of love and respect. It has never been a criticism. It's never worked on me and doesn't work on many old school metalheads. It doesn't work. But keeping an open mind and like not trying to attack anyone personally, just keep spreading positivity and let people find for themselves what's best to do in this world instead of attacking. So that was just wanted to add that one up there.
No, yeah, I really, it's a great rule to live by. I was just saying that there's, you know, obviously a lot of, you know, different things out there, but using positivity is, you know, it's obviously, you know, a better tactic is what I was saying. So, but no, definitely, I totally agree with you. And there just needs to be more positivity, especially everything we went through last year. We need more positivity in our life. No more unison.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Leon Sohail of Offensive, joining me here on Super Cool Radio. Please check out Metal to the Mass 2. Offensive is going to rock your face off and smile while doing it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Matthew. Thank you very much for all the listeners of Super Cool Radio. And I hope we'll be invited back.
Of course. Always a great time chatting with you. I think we definitely there's a lot of different topics that we kind of covered on, but definitely, I think for another interview, there's so much more to talk about. But thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Matthew Thomas with Super Cool Radio. Thank you for watching.